In this video, I'll be discussing on blockchain and the distributed ledgers. So blockchain is one type of a distributed ledger, and first of all, we'll just see what the definition says. So the definition says that distributed ledgers, they are a kind of database that are consensually shared, synchronized across multiple sites, institutions or geographies, accessible by multiple people. So for now you just see the highlighted text in red. All these words mean something, and all these words I'll be making clear over the duration of the presentation. So distributed ledgers are also called shared ledgers. They are also called distributed ledger technology, or simply DLT, or they are also sometimes referred to as RJT, that is for replicated journal technology. So let's understand. So the traditional way of sharing documents, how do we traditionally share the documents? Suppose there are two guys, they are geographically located apart, or they are maybe part of a corporate office. So if they have a Word document to share with each other, what are the possibilities? Either they can share it on a local LAN, either they can email, or they can simply hand over the doc in person through a USB or a pen, floppy disk, or anything via any other media, CD, DVD, etc. And the other way is that they can also access the same document and share the same document through cloud service like Google Docs. But suppose instead of two guys, there are about millions of guys, thousands of guys who are accessing that document. So what do we see? So there is likely to be a bandwidth not availability, and the server may crash. So it may just lead to a server crashing. So what are the choices now? Choices include, we have a centralized architecture, the typical traditional thing that we all know, wherein we have got a central server and we have got clients, and the clients are controlled by the central server management with respect to access rights, policies, and read write access controls. Then we have got a decentralized thing. So decentralized means it is a subset of centralized, wherein the load is basically divided of the same network in various different centralized nodes. The third option is distributed, wherein we see that there is no centralized kind of a thing. Every node is just connected to other nodes. So we'll be talking about the distributed network here. So in case of a scenario like we had just imagined, wherein a number of people are trying to access and trying to share a document, what can be an ideal situation like? So ideal situation will be like everyone edits their local copy of the document, and the internet takes care of the ensuring consistency. Now what does this mean? So this basically means that every node maintains a local copy of that document. All the copies are identical, and most important is all these copies are updated based on global information. Now to make it further simple, we'll discuss it further. So first of all, we can talk about the node. What constitutes a node? Node can be an individual player in a distributed system. Node will be capable of sending and receiving messages to and from each other. Can be a honest, can be a faulty, or can be a malicious node, and they have their respective configurations in terms of memory and processor. And any kind of node which exhibits a irrational behavior or kind of a malicious behavior which is unexpected, so that is known as Byzantine node, and we'll discuss this Byzantine generals problem ahead in a separate video altogether. So distributed ledger types. So what are the distributed ledger types? They are permissioned or permissionless. Permissioned, obviously the names are self-explanatory. Permissioned means there is a requirement that one needs to get permission to participate in a distributed ledger, and permissionless is anybody can participate. So, and the other way that we can classify is consensus algorithm. So we'll discuss the consensus algorithm further, but let's focus on the distributed ledger part now. So what are the characteristics also? Now before we come on to how actually they work, so these are basically few slides defining the characteristics of distributed ledgers. So DLT database spreads across several nodes on a peer-to-peer network. each node replicates and stores an identical copy of the ledger. Now you relate all these highlighted text with the definition and with the earlier things that we have spoken about, synchrony, being synchronous and being replicating each other, etc., and it updates itself independently. There is an absence of central authority, unlike the centralized and decentralized network. Here we do not have any kind of centralized server which is taking care of any kind of access rights or policies. Then as the ledger updates, each node constructs a new transaction followed by nodes voting wide consensus algorithm. Now this might look complex at the first hearing while you try to assimilate and connect with the earlier slides, but don't worry, we'll just go ahead and these things will amply get clear as we progress ahead. And after the agreement is made, all nodes update themselves depending on what decision has been taken with respect to the updation of data, whether it yes or no. And the security is established with cryptographic keys and signatures. That again will be a separate video, but for now these are the connected dots that we'll be connecting later in the videos. So let's take an example to understand. This is a very simple and exhaustive example so that it will make you amply clear of what distributed ledgers are like. So this is a world map, this is a flat map, this is looking blank. Imagine there are about 4 people who are located geographically apart and they are planning to do some transactions with each other. So these be A, B, C and D. Now these are 4 guys and let's take them onto a slide now. So geographically apart, these 4 guys, now I have brought them here just for basic assimilation and a simple understanding. So just imagine there is each of these guys, they are holding some kind of currency with each other. Now for the sake of simplicity and no further confusions, I have just taken currency as rupees. So it will not be rupees actually, but for now, yes, you just imagine that this is a currency. It can be rupees, it can be dollar, it can be yen, yuan, etc. Anything. So for now, these geographically apart guys A, B, C, D, they are holding some kind of currency with each other and they are about to do a transaction. I would also mention here that in a Bitcoin scenario, while we connect this scenario with Bitcoin later, in Bitcoin the tokens will be exchanged. So instead of rupees and dollars that we are talking about here, it will be tokens there. So here, for example, the guy A transfers rupees 200 to B. Now C and D, who are geographically apart, they are absolutely not aware of what the transaction is taking place between A and B. But there is a public ledger, there is a distributed ledger which is held at each node A, B, C, D. Now irrespective of whether the transaction has C and D in its transaction, irrespective of that, the transaction which has taken place between A and B will be populated in their respective ledgers also in C and D. Now this is the interesting part, that C and D are not aware whether any transaction is taking place, but it is held in auto mode that whenever a transaction takes place between A and B, the ledger is updated globally. Again, another transactions take place between B and D. Now he transfers rupees 600. So between B and D, the transaction is taking place and not A and C. But when the global ledger is updated, you see the global ledger is updated like B has transferred rupees 600 to D, and A and C, the ledger is updated. Again, further going ahead, in case the node A tries to transfer rupees 10,000 to D. Now the algorithm will take care, the distributed ledger, this will take care of this thing that this is not possible. So this will not be updated in the ledger, since the algorithm takes care of the thing that what account is holding what account and whether that much amount is there to transfer to another account or not. So simply the updation will not take place and this transaction will be negated. Now imagine instead of these 4 guys, we have got multiple guys, we have got thousands and lakhs of millions of guys globally apart, and they are doing transactions, and whatever transactions they are doing, exactly in the same manner the public ledger is being updated in a boundaryless world. Now the public ledger over a period of time, while we had only considered about two, A to B and then B to D, two transactions. Suppose this transaction keep continuing, so what will be the kind of assimilation that we have of the compiled ledger? It will be looking like this. So we'll have start with 1000 and then A to B 200, B to D 600, and subsequently there will be millions of transactions, and these all transactions are being recorded in the public ledger. So now we come back to the definition. Now you just read the definition again. Is a database, okay, that is consensually shared. Consensually shared means there is a consensus among the participants, and consensus, what we'll be discussing ahead in context of Bitcoin, that is the proof of work, will be a separate video and we'll discuss it there. Synchronized, that means every ledger at every node, they are in sync with each other, they are absolutely the same across multiple sites, they are geographically apart, across multiple institutions, yes, okay, again denoting the same meaning, and accessible by multiple people. So all participants in that network, they'll be able to see the transactions. So distributed ledgers, the nodes basically they record, share and synchronize the transactions in their respective ledgers, and the blockchain organizes the data in blocks chained together in a append only mode. Now this means that all these data which is being populated in the blocks, this will only be appended. There will be no modification or there will be no deletion. Once a data is indexed inside any kind of public ledger, so that is assumed that it is final. There will not be any kind of modification thereafter. So once appended, it is sealed, it is immutable. So what is a Bitcoin Connect here? What we are talking about, the distributed ledger. Now again we come back to the global map ABCD. Suppose they multiply, we have got more people A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, they do some transactions, and all these transactions they keep happening between different nodes. And now what will happen is, you see each node will be populated with a public ledger, and this public ledger will be exactly on the same lines that we discussed earlier. Each of these ledger will be the same. Each of them will hold the transactions of each of the nodes, irrespective of whether that particular node is participating or not. So all blockchains are distributed ledgers, but not all distributed ledgers are blockchains. So thus, while blockchain represents a type of distributed ledger, it is actually a subset of DLT. Now we'll go into much details ahead of this. Now this video basically brings you a very generic view of how the transactions are populated in ledgers. And while there are other technologies which will be responsible, which are actually responsible for mechanizing the complete Bitcoin blockchain ecosystem, as I had given in the earlier videos, there will be proof of work, there will be consensus, there will be transactions, there will be digital signatures, there will be hashes, and there will be Merkle trees. So all this goes behind in parallel along with each transactions. Now first of all, as I said, while I am populating all these videos which are peculiar to different technologies like distributed ledgers, and then next I'll be taking on will be hashes and Merkle trees, and then I'll be taking on proof of work, etc. So while I discuss all these technologies in the beginning separately, subsequently all these technologies will merge together to form the absolute transparent picture of Bitcoin blockchain. So all these videos will be there in upcoming weeks. So for now and for today, I end up here. Thanks for watching, and give me your comments or any kind of views that you have in the comment section. Thank you.